It's Wednesday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns 5 Points podcast presented by Harrison Williamson Cross Country Mortgage. Got on my Viva Garcia shirt. Shout out Stevie G. We're diving into some news and notes around Gamecock athletics this week. Got some football stuff on the docket, baseball, and even a quick basketball note. But we want to kick off, Thomas, with football recruiting. Since we last jumped on and spoke, we've landed 2 high school recruits. We've also landed a player in the portal. Vincent Chin is an offensive lineman from Stetson. We got him out of the portal. The 2 high school recruits are Braden Tyson and the receiver from Pennsylvania that I'm blanking on his name.
Javian Robinson.
So, Thomas, what are your take on these moves we've made in the high school class, as well as Vincent Chin out of the portal?
Well, it's pretty refreshing to land a running back out of high school. We haven't done that in a couple cycles.
Since 2024.
The
Matthew Fuller.
The Stan Drayton hire is having a immediate impact on the recruiting trail. So that was refreshing to see. I really don't, we've kind of talked at length about this, that recruiting just doesn't really feel the way that it used to for multiple reasons. Just with, the portal being so important for roster building, that not as much of your team is made up out of the high school ranks, and with the chance that these kids are going to leave and go into the portal before they ever see the field. Like it's hard to get as emotionally attached this early, but it's like I said a few episodes ago, recruiting is where Beamer has excelled, and I expect him to continue to excel in recruiting. It's nice that our class is starting to take shape. I want to say we're in the top 25 now on most sites. We're ahead of Clemson. That's always something that I pay attention to. I know that you are a little pessimistic about this portal signing. You think that
I gotta take about that.
Then I'm not going to spoil your take, but I'll say that I think that anytime you can add depth at the tackle position, especially when we are going into a season where we know that our O-line is not great, I think you just take as many players as you can just in case. But, it is my contention that this doesn't signal any deeper meaning. I just think that we saw an opportunity to take a player that might make our roster better, and we did that. But, how do you feel about it?
I know. I sent in the group text, and I said this is actually bad news, and that's no offense to Vincent Chin, and I hope he becomes a great player for South Carolina, and maybe he will. What I was alluding to was, I think deep down this taking Vincent Chin was about Ja'Carius Peak's health, and I don't, in my mind, putting on the tinfoil hat or, being the pessimistic fan that I can be sometimes, and I've said it at length, like Beamer is that's one of the things that annoys me about him. And I know every coach does it, but I think he's not forthcoming with information regarding injuries, and I think he skews the truth a little bit when it comes to injuries. And we heard, Ja'Carius Peak got hurt in an off-season activity. He's going to be ready for the season. That's what we heard. To me, this, taking Vincent Chin signaled that maybe Jacarius Peak isn't going to be as healthy by the beginning of the season, or we might not be able to get him on the field until mid-season, or potentially, really getting pessimistic, he might miss the season. I don't know. These are the thoughts that start to go through my head when I saw that. And just because it's weird, I don't know. It's weird timing. I don't know Vincent's story on why he was in the portal when he was, and how I think Auburn was maybe looking at him, and there was definitely some suitors for him. But I just thought it was interesting that we were going out and getting a tackle, and if Jacarius Peak's going to be healthy, I know depth is important, but it just didn't feel right to me. It just makes me think that his injury is more serious than anyone knows, and I hope that's not the case. I hope I hope you're right, Thomas, and it's just simply a chance to get a good player that can make us better and give us more depth. But that was my take on it. I don't know what the rest of Gamecock Nation thinks about that, but I'm just
I mean,
wasn't.
I'm not ruling your theory out, and I certainly don't think that Beamer is going to tell us that Peak isn't going to be able to play. Like, it'll just kind of be, we'll get to week 3 and he won't be starting, and like that's kind of how we'll know if that's what happens. But in terms of us taking another tackle, Shed Surratt practiced at tackle in the spring, and I'm not saying that I don't want him to play tackle, but I do think that if we can find other tackles that will allow Shed to play on the interior, I do think that is the more natural position for Shed. So, it could be that this guy is the backup plan if Peak can't go, but also, let's say that Peak does get healthy week 3, week 4, and that allows us to move Shed back inside. It's just another way to get the best 5 on the field, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not reading into it too far yet, but I'm not discounting your theory either.
So so Shed, you think as of right now with Peak, let's say Peak is out week 1, you would think week 1 Shed would be at tackle?
He practiced at tackle in the spring, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Interesting, because I agree with you. I hope he's on the inside. I think he's better on the inside.
He's guard is definitely a more natural position for him, but we have more depth at guard, and he is one of our best O linemen. So what we're doing is, we're putting him outside because we have to. That's why I'm saying just taking another tackle ideally allows us to move Shed back inside regardless of Peak's health. Let's say that Peak is healthy, but then, Shed is playing right tackle because no one else can. Maybe Vincent can lock down that right tackle spot for us, and Shed can move back to guard if that is the case.
Yeah. No, it's the ever, I don't know, anything to do with the offensive line gives me the creeps, and my antennas went up on that one, and I was just like, this doesn't feel, even though it should be exciting, and like I said, I hope Vincent Chin is a great player and contributes to the team, however that is, whether it be a great practice player or actually getting on the field and getting some snaps. But yeah, I just didn't like that, but we'll see how it shakes out, and like you said, we probably won't know until week 3 when the offensive line trots out for the first drive, who those 5 guys are in the lineup. But let's talk about the other side of the ball, defense. There's been a lot of talk out of spring ball about some freshmen. We've talked about these guys, but really the hype is starting to build up for some of these guys in the freshman class, specifically Jazavian Currents at safety, Noah Clark at defensive tackle, and Julian Walker at defensive end, edge, whatever you want to call it. Talk about these guys, Thomas, because it sounds like, I don't know if Noah Clark's going to be a starter, but it definitely sounds like he's going to be a rotational guy in the defensive interior. And then it sounds like Julian Walker and Jazavian Currents could be starters, which is saying something because in Julian Walker's case, Dylan Stewart has the other side locked down, and Caleb Herring was a SEC player that transferred in with 3 years of experience, and plus the other guys on the roster. So it's speaking volumes to what he is as an athletic freak and his work that he's put in. And then also the secondary, for Jazavian Currents to come in and be a potential day one starter. Again, we've kind of gotten Nicky Minwari vibes from him. And that's what Nicky did. He came in and started as a freshman. So interested to hear what your thoughts are on these guys' potential for this defensive unit in 2026.
Yeah, so all this buzz is super exciting and really encouraging. I mean, I think that we actually mentioned that Noah Clark might carve out a role for himself when we were covering just like when we were covering signing day and we were talking about the incoming freshman. He was a guy that popped up. I mean, it's typically rare that a freshman is going to play. A lot of coaches say the closer you are to the ball on the field, the harder it is to play as a freshman. So that would mean that, D tackle, center guard are the hardest positions to come in and play right away. Whereas like skill players and DBs can kind of, fill that role at a younger age because you don't have to be as physically developed. But in the case of Noah Clark, he's just such a massive human already. So we were kind of talking about how, he can have a role for himself in situational football scenarios where, he needs to eat a double team. It's it's a point in the game where it's a short yard situation. They want to run the ball. We know that we got to stop the run. And so he subs in and is a part of that package that is, a goal line package, a third and short package. And it sounds like that has proved itself to be true so far. When it comes to Julian Walker, I mean, as soon as the pictures started to come out of him at spring practice, I mean, he's just a massive human being. I mean, I've seen Dylan in person. I've seen Caleb Herring in person. I've seen Julian Walker in person, and he is the biggest of all. And that doesn't mean that he's better than them, but he is also huge. So it just gives him an opportunity to come in and play a lot quicker and earlier than we are expecting freshmen to be able to play on the lines of scrimmage. But I think the most exciting of the three is Currents, because I feel really, really good about our secondary, really our defense as a whole. But I thought that maybe the position group where we kind of lacked the high-end talent, and this is no respect to Gerald or Peyton, but I thought that was safety. And the fact that Currents is coming in and could potentially work himself into the starting lineup. Some people are saying week 4, some people are saying week 6. I think he's going to get snaps right away. I mean, the first 2 games of the season are opponents that we should have a lead on and should be able to work these guys in and get them a little bit of experience. So the fact that he might win that job just makes me very excited about the ceiling of where this defense can get this season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting to see, and it had me thinking about, some of the freshman impact guys that we've had come through, in the secondary. You think of, I mentioned Nick E. You think of Co Simpson at safety, Stephon Gilmore at corner, and really the impact.
Jalen Kilgore played a lot as a freshman.
Right, like these
JC
guys, we need some. Again, you got to work in the young talent with the experience, and the best teams have that mixture of young talent mixed with experience on both sides of the ball. And you think back as recently as Dylan Stewart's freshman year when Kyle Kennard was on the other side, and Dylan Stewart was the talent, but Kyle Kennard won SEC Defensive Player of the Year in the 24 season, and people forget that, I think. And that 1-2 punch, and what now Dylan is taking that Kennard experience role, best guy on the team, and Julian Walker can be that 1-2 punch with him on the field on the defensive line. So and I also think back to it makes me think back to Clowney. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney is the highest rated recruit. Definitely at the time he was. I don't know if some of these quarterbacks or any other players have surpassed him in the all-time rankings, but at the time he was the highest rated recruit ever. All the hype in the world, and he wasn't a starter his freshman year, but he played a ton. But he kind of made up a 3-man rotation with Cliff Matthews and Melvin Ingram, and Melvin Ingram was able to slide inside some to get him, Cliff, and Jadeveon on the field. But I think we maybe could see some of that with Julian Walker and Dylan and Caleb Herring. Getting those 3 guys. You mentioned Julian Walker's size. Can we slide him inside on a 3rd and long situation and have all 3 of those guys on the field at once to go get the passer? So I'm excited about these guys, and we trust the defense. We trust the defense. The defense has not let us down. The defense has let us down, but the defense has been the better unit on this team in Beamer's tenure, under Clayton White, and I'm excited to see what they could do, and hopefully we have the offense to match what the defense is giving us, hopefully, on the field. One last football note, and I'm gonna friend of the show. Anonymous friend of the show, friend of Thomas and I's, had the privilege of touring the Williams-Brice renovation, and he had some awesome feedback that I wanted to share out with the podcast listeners. And Thomas, you can add some color to this, but the student club. They have a patio up top, and he said that's going to be a big hit. Somehow, they're going to actually be able to get more students in the lower bowl. I think that was one of the things that was real shitty as a student, Thomas, when you were requesting tickets and you got that email that you got upper deck, and it was just like that was the worst feeling. Even though you were going in the game, you weren't sitting in that lower bowl that you really feel like is the main student section, where you can, it's general admission and you can sit with your group, and it's not ticketed seats. So I think that's exciting that they're going to be able to get more students into the lower bowl. It's also going to be a club for students to use, outside of football season. Which is really cool. One of the things I'm looking right here through the text, another note on the east side, which is the away side, they really want to improve the concourse area because they don't like the idea that right now the east side is considered the visitor side. no one wants to buy tickets over there because they feel like it's a visitor side. It's not as nice. So they're really ramping up the east side where it's been neglected in past updates. So that's a big. I know a lot of the young alumni, folks our age and recent graduates. A lot of their season tickets are on the east side because the longtime donors tend to be on the west side and in the end zone. So that's going to be great. I think it'll make it feel like that side is just as nice as the home side, and really the only thing you got to battle is the sun during day games. That does suck no matter what on the east side, especially in September. But
well, the student
any thoughts
section is
we
going to
have,
have
Thomas?
the student section is apparently going to have some coverage against the sun. So I don't know if the east side is going to get any of that as well. I don't have anything really to add. I drive by the stadium pretty regularly, and I haven't looked at the renderings, so I don't really know what it's supposed to look like. But what I can say is, like, there's a massive stone structure behind the scoreboard now that almost reaches George Rogers Boulevard. So, like,
Yeah, so that's like the student club. It's good. There's going to be a club area essentially for the students, and they're
so
going to have
there's going
year
to be
round youth stuff.
it's going to be like an indoor space, like the zone behind the scoreboard.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then
that's major.
and then on top of that is like a patio area that students can stand and watch the game and stuff. So I think that's how they're adding capacity, because people will be able to kind of stand on that patio area.
Okay.
Um,
Well, yeah. If you're a student, I don't see how there's any excuse for you to not be in the game at this point with those additions. Although I'm sure that we'll lose a portion of the student body to the frat loss. They'll never make it out of the frat loss for the game, but it is what
hey,
it is.
just put a. I mean, I will rag on the students in some capacity, but if we put a good product on the field, I think majority of the students stay.
Yeah.
And will stay but again, you and I were the ones
Well,
that
I wasn't talking about leaving. I was talking about arriving. There's some that never even make it out of the frat lot because they're passed out.
put a pint of Jim Beam in your waistband and
Yeah.
get there 10 minutes before kickoff. I mean, it's that simple, students. I mean, they act like they can't sneak booze into the game. Like it's crazy. Hell, some of them can probably buy booze. I mean, some of the students are 21. I don't know if they sell it in that area of the stadium, but yeah, another thing he mentioned was, and this just reminder for the common fan, because a lot of this stadium renovation, a lot of the talk around it is we have to get more suites and add more premium seating, and that's the truth. I mean, we were dead last in premium seating. It's absolutely a need in the stadium, and we need to drive revenue from the stadium, and these premium suites are how we do it. But he talked a lot about just making the concourse, the way they're doing the concourses with bathrooms and new concessions, making a lot more sense logistically. Basically fighting the idea that how do we get people off their couch and into the stadium, because a lot of folks these days, you got your 80-inch TV, you got your cold beer in the fridge, you order food, you have friends over. It's a great way to watch games. So how do we get people in the stands? Because those people are going to games in the past, and it's like, I waited 30 minutes in line for concessions. I missed half a quarter. Like then I had to go to the bathroom. I missed another chunk of the game. And so logistically, in all areas of the stadium, it sounds like there's going to be better concessions, better bathrooms, better movement of people for everyone, not just the not just the the fans that are going to be in the suite. So this truly is a renovation of the entire stadium, and it's going to affect everyone. And then the last little note that he mentioned that I thought was interesting was that they're moving the visitors' locker room to the other side of the stadium. So the visitors will no longer run out right by the student section. They'll actually run out by where typically the opposing band in the main visitors section. So just right onto their sideline. And
Shout out
so
Cajun Cousins.
Cajun Cousins, shout him out. So I thought that was interesting. He made the point it doesn't interrupt 2001. So when when our team runs out after 2001, and then we're trying to cheer and hype up our team, and then the students catch wind of the opposing team starting to run out of their locker room, and then boos start to infiltrate the cheers, and it's a mixed bag of cheering and booing, and it's kind of cluttered.
I'm still going to boo when the opponents run out.
Yeah, I mean you gotta boo, but it won't interrupt our grand entrance, which is nice. I think I do kind of like when we get out in 2001 early and the away team's late, and the players are going to pray. I'm not saying they're not praying with the air quotes, sorry, but I know they're going to pray. But they wait there and kind of give the death stare as I do kind of like how that hypes up in the pregame, and how it gets the crowd into it. I loved when the student section was by the visitors locker room. We had some fun in college, especially never forget the Tennessee game. I mean, so much happened to that game. Lattimore's injury, and then for the whole game, Tennessee's left tackle getting the best of Clowney, only for on the game sealing play to be made by Clowney with the strip sack on Tyler Bray. And we were hanging around as that left tackle was leaving the field, and we started to chirp him, and I'll never forget, he slammed his helmet into onto the concrete where he had exited the field and was going towards the locker room, and just snapped his helmet in half. Like, oh, it was glorious. It was glorious. He was so mad, but yeah, fortunately, there was a security guards, and he would have probably taken all five of us at once. But I will miss that aspect. But I'm not a student anymore, so I don't get to enjoy it anyway. But I thought that was interesting that we are moving the locker room. And then just the final thing that doesn't really have to do anything with football, but this will make Williams-Brice a more attractive place for concerts and other events, and things that can be brought to Columbia outside of outside of football, and so that's exciting. I think Beyonce performed it at Willie B back in the day, so we've gotten the Queen, but we probably have missed out on a lot of events because of our the lack of logistics. And I think as far as improving the stadium, we have the infrastructure around the stadium to support these types of events better than some other places. So I think we'll start to see more events in Columbia. But just wanted to appreciate our anonymous source for giving me some of that inside information that he from his perspective as he got to tour the renovations. And I'm excited to get in the stadium next season and see some of it. And this is only the first phase. There's more to come with the Williams-Brice reimagination. So that's exciting from that perspective. T.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, if we can get you to a game.
So I'm getting in my head. I'm 0-2 in my last two trips. I think I'm just bad luck. I mean, I still haven't placed a sports bet since January, I may break that in the fall, but I'm not taking us. I got 3 new rules: no parlays, no South Carolina, no futures. So sorry.
So you mean no fun? So you mean no fun?
Well, I mean, I really truly believe that we were bad last year, and Lenoris did not win the Heisman because of the bets that I placed. And because that I am not going to place those bets this year, he will win the Heisman. We will make the playoff, and we will hit our team total over. I think I'm like 0-3 or 0-4 lifetime on our season total. Like every single time I've taken it goes under. So I'm going to abstain from that for sure.
Well, everyone has to play their part, so we appreciate your service.
Yeah.
Appreciate your service.
Yeah. It's a big sacrifice.
It is a big sacrifice. Because that's, I mean, our season total over is free money. I mean, so to sacrifice that, someone go down to touchdowns and buy some wings and beer, because Thomas is going to have to recoup the money he would have won on all these bets in some form or fashion. So just get down to get down to the bar and grab a beer, so Thomas can make up that coin. But we're going to end on a couple news and notes. RIP to the 2026 baseball season. We lost in the first round of the SEC tournament. No surprise there. Many people might have seen the play that summed up our season with the pickle with the catcher and dropping the ball, and Tennessee scored the run. I mean, there was accounts that have nothing to do with South Carolina posting that clip, and I was just like, when it rains, it pours. I'm glad the season's over. Do you have an opinion, Thomas? My opinion is I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, of course I'm glad it's over. I mean, yeah. I checked out pretty early. I mean, it takes a lot for me to even check. I will fully admit I am a fair weather baseball fan. I'm just not too into baseball. So, like, it takes everything go. Like, when we lost to Clemson, I was pretty much, that was it for me for baseball season. And then I'm just glad the embarrassment is over. Now we can focus on the coaching search, and really just this entire year for men's sports has been bad, and it's nice to hit the reset button and forget about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Reset it. Nike July 1st. Like, we are entering a new era. We're leaving 2025, 2026 men's sports in the dust, because it was brutal. The Kevin Schnall rumors are heating up. I don't know that there's anything concrete. People are talking. I saw another rumor about the coach from Kansas. I'll be the first to admit I don't know anything about Kansas baseball. I know they are in postseason play, though, or will be in postseason play. So clearly that guy's doing a good job. And if he's got Kansas, in the NCAA tournament talks. But those are two names that have been floating around. I'm sure there's going to be more. I'm still down for my boy Landon Powell, but I don't think I think Donati's really going for a splash hire. So
yeah,
I expect it to be. I don't think
Donati can hire Landon as his first big hire.
Yeah. I think it's going to be Schnall, maybe the assistant from Georgia that I can't remember his name, but he's been linked to the job. Georgia is absolutely crushing it this year. Their baseball team is sick. They just hit bombs, and they beat. I mean, I think they won 8 series against top 20 teams or something crazy this season. They're really good, and so pulling a guy off their staff would be a win, in my opinion. And then this guy from Kansas, but we'll see how it all shakes out for the baseball team. But huge couple. I guess I don't know how long it's going to take. We might have to wait, especially if our target is coaching a team in the College World Series or to the College World Series. That it might take a couple months before we can put ink to paper for the baseball head coaching job. But final thing, Sam Decker, hired by Lamont Paris. I think this is an exciting hire. Sam Decker is probably well known to people in our generation. He played on Wisconsin's Final Four team that I guess they got to the national championship and lost to Duke, if I remember correctly. But played some time in the league. He clearly, he's had success as a player. I think he's just getting into coaching. I just think he'll be a valuable asset to our staff. I think young people know who he is, so it could help with recruiting. And I think, Lamont had ties to Wisconsin, so I don't know if Lamont and Sam were there at the same time.
Yeah, he was an assistant on that staff. He was on the staff. Yeah,
that's right. Yep. So it makes sense for Lamont to bring him in and kind of get him into the coaching world. So I think he'll be super motivated to work hard for Lamont and help the program. So I think it's an awesome hire and just of newsworthy for the basketball program.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was just that it'll be a boost in recruiting. Anytime that you can have someone on staff that played in the NBA, regardless of like how his career went, like he made the league, and it was recent enough that the players will be going after will kind of know who he is. I think that's a plus.
Yeah. One other guy that we missed on the baseball, going back to the baseball search, is Coach Ramsey from Georgia Tech. They're also a top 5 team. He'll be per producer Ross will be a super intriguing target. And I agree with him. So that's going to be it for this episode. Please go follow us on socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. If you watch on YouTube, please subscribe. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, please subscribe. We're going to try and get more consistent with when we release. We're going to still do one episode a week is our goal. And we plan to record on and release on Monday nights going forward. So hopefully that consistency will help y'all follow. If you do listen and you're wondering, we've been really inconsistent the last couple months with when we release episodes, and it's just a scheduling nightmare between the three of us. But appreciate you listening, everyone who does. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. I need to start thanking people at the beginning of episodes, but we will be signing off until the next one. As always, go Cox.
Go Cox.